Welcome to the Loveland Report and Lone Ranger Show. I am Cleve Loveland, Central Florida's voice of real estate and real estate planner, alongside Bruce Woodburn, the Lone Ranger. Got news today on all your real estate information, all your mortgage information, what's going on with rates, what's going on with the market. Bruce, I'm going to jump into a couple of things. Big news in real estate right now affecting everybody, or will affect everybody this year. National Association of Realtors reached a settlement over commissions. It's going to they're trying to change the way real estate has worked very well.
They're changing it already.
Right, it'll happen. And we got inventory numbers for last year, for February, how sales did. I've been calling this as being the bottom. We're going to dig into that. And the pace of this year, and that's another that ties into that. The pace of sales, the pace of calls in my office, the pace of transactions. The smart people right now are buying now, because I just know the end of this year, we're going to be saying, I told you so. It was going to speed up. You should not have waited for rates to be 6.5 instead of 7. You need to buy now. Where are we, Bruce, on rates?
Well, we had a rough week. Actually, the last 2 weeks have been a little off. We had the CPI index came in a little higher than expected. The PPI index came in higher than expected. We had a bond sell-off, and it caused rates to jump up a little bit. But they're still in the upper 6s, lower 7s. You can still buy down rates into the 6s, but we're really recommending more of a temporary buy down than a permanent buy down, since I think most people are wasting money by paying additional points. We can discuss that a little bit later on in the show. I wanted to also mention that Cleve and I will be teaching my Leapfrog program on March the 27th. You'll need to put that in your calendar. You will need to register in advance. It is limited seats, but we're going to be teaching you how we bought and sold properties, how we manage properties, how we help create wealth for us and our families and other families. So this is a great opportunity. It will not be a sales presentation. It will be an instructional workshop. Please, no kids, but register in advance so we bring you home. We're also going to talk about hometown heroes. Are they getting more money? So I want to talk about that. I want to talk about my favorite builder who is starting back up and hitting it strong, Trinity Family Builders, the incentives that they're going to offer, and then what did the Fed do on Wednesday? And are we still going to see these 3 potential rate cuts by the Fed later on in the year? So we're going to hit all of these things and more. So let's get started on what you've got, Cleve. By the way, if you'd like to call Cleve, he is available. He's got agents on call right now. And Cleve, how do they reach you?
407-352-8118 or cleveloveland.com. We'll be working all weekend as always. And number one thing I want to jump into, Bruce, been all over the national news, is the National Association of Realtors settlement. There was a court case out there in a couple of states. The plaintiff said that when you buy a home and the buyer's agent getting paid in that was not correct the way they wanted to do it. And of course, Sleepy Joe's DOJ got involved and pursued this, got a judgment against some of the biggest real estate companies out there for hundreds of millions of dollars. So the National Association of Realtors has stepped in with a settlement. And what this does is this is going to come down. We'll have all the contracts. We'll give you the details as this opens up in here, but it makes things a little more negotiable for the buyer agent. For the buyer, if you're a buyer, you're literally going to, just like you hire a listing agent to list your home, you hire one listing agent to list your home, and then all of the buyer's agents in Central Florida can come look at it. When you hire, you're going to have to hire a buyer agent who knows how to negotiate and agree up front to the commission you're going to pay them.
Well, this is more important than ever. So I always tell people that they need to hire a professional real estate agent, not their cousin's best friend or their boss's wife. And here it's going to be more important than ever that when you go to choose an agent to represent you as a buyer, you better be hiring a good negotiator. That's what you need now more than ever. Not just to negotiate the price of the house, but to negotiate the terms. So that's where
let me finish on this, because what's going to happen? Normally, when we list a house and let's just say the commission, I'm going to pick a crazy number because I'm not supposed to talk about commissions on the air. Let's say I pick 10% as the commission, which is really high, and we're going to split that. The listing agent gets 5, and the buyer's agent gets 5. So all the thousands of realtors out there in Central Florida come look at your $800,000 home. Now what they're saying is, I can't post that commission to the buyer's agent in there. The seller has a choice. Now they have a choice not to pay a commission
to the buyer's
buyer's agent, and So when the buyer comes in, now if the buyer, so what's going to happen? And I'm not even sure how this is going to shake out. The buyer's agent is going to call me and say, "Are you paying a commission?" And I kind of disclose that if we are or not. If I'm not, and they haven't agreed to if they don't have a commission agreement with their buyer they're working with, they're going to go, "Oh, I think I might go see the next house down the street." So this is what we don't know yet.
Well,
But this is where,
and I'm going to tell you how that's going to affect the people that are buying a home. So 80% of people buying a home put less than 20% down. 80%.
Yeah.
So if you are struggling to put down 3 or 5% or even 10% plus your closing costs, a buyer's not going to have the money to pay the buyer the realtor's commission. So the buyer is going to have their realtor, their buyer's agent, negotiate with that, because and then it'll end up just the way it was before.
I hope so.
Well, otherwise the seller's going to be missing out on opportunities.
Well, and I've already had some sellers going, "Wow, okay, I save 4%. I don't have to pay a buyer's agent."
Yeah, but you don't have any buyers.
Yeah, but nobody's gonna come look at you. And it's funny. One of the original companies that was part of this lawsuit tried that. They said, "We'll list your house for less, and we're going to pay the buyer's agent hardly anything."
And nobody showed their houses.
They never sold a house.
And then they went belly up.
They went belly up. So a couple tech billionaires in Silicon Valley lost all their money because they thought they could do it differently. But you want the best realtor helping you look. So we're going to have this set out for you and explain this to you. It comes back to knowing your numbers. And then Bruce, once they've worked with you, like I've got a buyer calling you now about they want to buy a duplex or triplex and they want to live in part of it.
Okay.
But I told her, I said, her lease isn't up until the end of summer. I said, well, we're going to have to also include in there a commission for the buyer's agent, just in case the seller's not paying one. And this is what's going to change a lot of things. So, and I've got realtors, Bruce, that send me offers. I had one the other day that sent us an offer $600,000 below list price, and like 600,000.
If it's a $10 million house, maybe you might do that.
Yeah, but no, this was a $2.5 million house. And so we sent them the comps, and literally it took about 10 days of explaining to this agent, here's the comps. This is a good price on this home. Where else can you go? It is the best buy on this whole chain of lakes. And
I know the house, and it's a great house.
And they came up, and the agent, lo and behold, after we educated them, and they educated their buyer, we got that. Now, if that, it's just
bless your little heart, realtor.
Kind of, and if you. But getting that done, that's part of my job as the listing agent, knowing what it takes to do that. I'm as nice as I can be, but I'm the seller's agent working to get them as much as possible. But it's my job. This was a good buyer. They were qualified. We knew that. They just made an uneducated offer. Now, everybody tries it. I try it when I buy a house. And of course, it's funny.
Throw it against the wall, see if it sticks.
Yeah, the homes I've ever bought, Bruce, all the homes I've ever bought, I always go in like Mr. Realtor. And I'm super smart. And I always go in low, and all of a sudden I get thumped. I lose the house, or I end up, okay, wait, I'll pay above full price. That's always happening on every single home I bought, just about. So you get what you pay for on stuff like that. But the agent that's helping you needs to know their numbers, know what the seller's going to get, explain to the seller the different scenarios that might happen now. Explain, and you got to be able to tell a buyer, hey, okay, so you want this much to pay your agent, that kind of all this.
Here's what I'm afraid people may end up falling into this mistake. So you don't have the money to pay the buyer's agent. So they think, well, I'll just go right to the listing agent. Now I'm negotiating with somebody that's representing the other side. And I think that's going to be problematic.
And they can do that now. I get those calls now, Bruce.
Well, I understand that. And you can act as a transaction broker, not as a dual agent. Yeah. Right? Now, dual agent would mean I'm really not representing.
We don't have those anymore.
I know you don't. You don't have those
anymore. But what I do, people always think that they call thinking they're going to get a discount on the listing because they're calling straight to the listing agent. It's double the work. I'm not doing double the work for half the money. I'm sorry. I'd be out of business.
Well, sometimes you'll give a discount if you have both sides of it, though, don't you?
Nope. Man, that's worth every penny.
Well, she is worth every penny. Listen, if you want to get pre-approved, you want to talk to the loan arranger. I've been in the mortgage business for 35 years, and I'm right here in your backyard. You can call me now at 407-250-9144. Again, that's 407-250-9144 for the loan arranger. Direct lender, all 50 states. Every loan program you could possibly think of. No junk fees. Like everything we do, we just nail it down so that you get the best possible interest rate, the lowest possible closing costs, and When we come back from our next break, we got a few minutes here. We got about 5 minutes. But when we come back from the next break, I want to talk about Trinity Family Builders.
And I want to ask you about this, Bruce. So what people might need to do if they need a little more money out of pocket to pay their agent, and assuming the house will be lower in price if you do that, this is what's more important about knowing their numbers and getting with you to get fast track. Tell everybody about that, because if they know exactly where they're at on rate, or you say, hey, by the way, pay this credit card down, don't pay it off, pay this down, and I'm gonna get you.
Well, that's our consulting that we do. My
Yeah.
team are experts on consulting with you, not only to get your credit score maybe to where you qualify, but even to get your credit score to maybe you're getting a little better interest rate. I've got a client right now that their score was 714, but if they did one thing, it went to a 757, and that was a quarter point better on the discount points. It was incredible. Actually, it was almost 1 point. It was a quarter point better in a rate, or 1 point better on the discount points. So we will consult with you, but Fast Track is a full loan approval. It's not a pre-approval. See, loan officers write pre-approvals, but loan officers can't approve a loan. So how can they truly write a pre-approval? So we send your loan into underwriting. We get a full underwritten written commitment, and that allows me to then be able to offer you a 10-day close. It gives me an opportunity to call the listing agent and tell them that we'll guarantee that my client will close on time without fail, or I will pay the seller up to $500 per day for every day we miss the closing. That's what you do when you're Fast Track. So if you're listening out there right now, pre-approval is standard, but Fast Track is almost like being a cash deal. And we still have these cash offer programs too, where I've got a program that if you for some reason can't close, I'll just pay cash for the house. So you're guaranteed you're going to close.
Yep.
All of these things are programs that Cross Country Mortgage has to offer. Call the loan arranger now at 407-250-9144 or webringyouhome.com.
Now, Bruce, I also want to ask you about your DSCR loans.
Okay.
I've got a property I've got my own. I want to pick up 2 more this year, and I've
Okay.
got a property. It's going to be $250
Okay.
by the time it's all said and done, and a nice little investment starter home. And then it's going to rent for $2,000. What's
Okay.
my loan? And so let's say with 50% down, what's my interest rate going to be on something like that? I know you give me a range.
Well, you're going to be in the 7s or 8%.
Okay.
So you can still get an attractive rate, but
Okay.
the DSCR, you have to remember, it's not a full qualification loan. So for you, I don't know if a DSCR is the right thing, because you have the income, you have the tax returns, you have the cash to close. A DSCR is for somebody that's an investor that may be self-employed, maybe not self-employed, but they don't show the income on their tax returns. They can't provide me, or choose not to want to
So if
supply
I
me.
did a conventional loan, the rate might be a little better.
Oh, the rate's going to be better on a
Okay.
traditional mortgage for
All right.
sure.
All right.
A DSCR is an alternative program. It's not a Fannie Mae loan. So a DSCR is debt service coverage ratio. And basically what that means is that I'm going to use the rent on the subject property to cover the mortgage payment, and that's what I'm going to qualify you for. So we're typically looking for a 1-to-1 ratio. So if your mortgage payment's going to be $3,500 a month, you got to have $3,500 a month in rent. If you don't, I do have DSCRs that are only 75%. So you can take a haircut on that. So in other words, if your mortgage payment's $1,000, then the rent could be $750.
Okay.
And that's still possible to
It's
do.
still a product, a tool
It's
in
a
your
tool
toolbox
to get investors to be able to purchase with limited documentation, much like my bank statement program
Right.
for self-employed people. But we also have our 1099 program. 1099 people are self-employed, but they've always been treated like self-employed. I've got a program. Remind me to talk about this when we come back from the break, because my 1099 program is phenomenal. The Loan Arranger, right now, you can call me at 407-250-9144. Again, 407-250-9144, or webringyouhome.com.
Cleve Loveland, 407-352-8118. When we get back, we'll talk about inventory numbers.
Be back in 5 minutes. Don't go in.